Richard Geller here. I want to tell you why New Year's resolutions suck. They're hard to follow through, and the reason they're hard to follow through is they're generally made impulsively because we think that we should be doing something. And when we think we should be doing something impulsively like that, it tends to be something that we're almost never going to follow through on. And so that's one thing. You're not going to follow through on it anyway, most of us. Also, what happens is after a little while, the enthusiasm that was triggering the goal, the resolution, that wanes. The enthusiasm wanes, and then we stop following through on it. Then we start feeling like a failure because we didn't succeed in what we set out to do. As our brain perceives it, we're a failure because we didn't keep going to the gym, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. And we end up with recriminations and self-blame. So we end up feeling guilty. And you know what's interesting? There's a bunch of studies about this now. More and more studies are being done on how willpower works and how to keep goals in front of you and how to actually achieve what you set out to achieve. Real university studies. And what they're finding is that when you have feelings of failure, feelings of blame and recrimination, it actually makes it less likely that you're going to succeed. So, in fact, if you don't meet a goal that you've set for yourself, if you don't make it, you're much better off. Let me see if I can draw this. All right. You're much better off getting back on the horse. This is a horse. And just getting back on the saddle and trying again. The more you blame yourself, the more you get into self-blame and recrimination and guilt, the worse it is. So therefore, I don't like New Year's resolutions because they sort of build guilt in. They kind of make it almost inevitable you're going to feel guilty. So forget New Year's resolutions, okay? So what's a better replacement? What's a better way of moving our lives forward into a better and better place if we're not going to have goals? So here's my suggestion. I like focuses. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Goals, also just in general, like New Year's resolutions suck because you aim high. Aim high means you fail all the time. Who wants to fail all the time? It's horrible. It's a bad feeling. And remember, we just talked about the university study. The more self-blame, the more self-doubt, the more you get on yourself, on your own case, the less likely it is you're going to meet your goals, that you're going to move forward. So aim high is a recipe for failure. Aim low is meaningless. Who wants to aim low? So goals have their place, but I'm going to show you what I do instead. And I'm hoping that it gives you some good ideas for this season to move as we move into the year. So I use focuses. So I have focuses. Focuses like spend meaningful time with my family, build a second income, exercise consistently. These are examples. These aren't exactly my focuses, but they might be similar. And I mean, they're just ideas for you. So what's a focus? A focus is something that you keep in front of you at all times during the day. So you can know, hey, am I building a second income? Am I exercising consistently? Am I spending meaningful time with my family? So these guide your actual conduct hour by hour, day by day. So rather than being something that you occasionally look at or that you write down and then forget about, these are things that you hold in the front of your mind at all times. And so basically, there's a number I want you to remember. The number is 90. Oops. Oh, I'm having trouble with my machinery here today. Got it. All right. This is the number. 95%. 95% of your activities should be focused on your focus. So, in other words, 5% of what you do is going to be just stuff you have to do. Like you got to pay bills, you got to go to the bank, you got to go to the supermarket. Those aren't really necessarily part of your focuses. Spending meaningful time with your family, building a second income, exercising consistently. So 5% is like stuff you got to do in life. 95% should be stuff that is in your focuses. So if you're playing catch with your son, that is spending meaningful time with your family. You're on your focus activity. If you're working at building up a business, that's your second income. You're on your focus activity. If you're exercising or just taking a walk, you're on your... So you see what I'm saying? Everything should be guided by your focuses. So the focuses are in front of you at all times. That's what's so cool about focuses. And it's not like you're trying to quantify your focus. You're not saying I'm going to lose 50 pounds or I'm going to spend 2 hours a day with my family. I don't think that's good. I think that all you want to do is you want to make your focuses the things you really, really want to do in your life and make sure that 95% of your time is being spent on those focuses. Okay? So here's another question for you. How many focuses should you have? I think over 5 or 6 is really hard to keep in front of your mind. See, you want these focuses to guide you and be your kind of like your shining star at all times. So if you have too many of them, you can't keep them in your mind. Interestingly enough, a long time ago, the phone company was one of the biggest organizations in the world. The phone company, there was one phone company in the United States that did most of the phone business, which is AT&T. And they did a study of how many numbers people could remember and how many things people could keep in their mind. And there's really no way anybody can keep more than 5 or 6 things in the front of their mind, because after that, short-term memory just fails us. That's how the brain is designed. So 5 or 6 is the magic number. Anything more than that, forget it. And you can certainly have fewer than that, but I wouldn't do more than 5 or 6. And you want to be able to keep these in your mind constantly throughout the day. So there have to be a small number, and they have to be really, really meaningful. So if I am talking about just focuses and I'm saying don't quantify them, don't put numbers on them, just make them things that guide your activities all during the day, every day, and aim for the 95% rule. 95% of what you do should be within those focuses. Where do plans fit in? Well, here's what I do. I do make plans. I assure you I make a lot of plans, and I get a lot of stuff done. So what I do is I set up a daily plan, basically what I'm going to do today. And mostly those things I can tick off at the end of the day. Done, done, done. I can pretty much get all those things done. And then there's other things that come up during the day that I don't plan for that are within my focus activities, but I get those done too, even though I didn't plan for them initially. Now, when I do plan for something, I generally will put it on the calendar, okay? Because if you don't have it on your calendar, it is not something that you're going to take seriously. So any activity that you're really going to do goes on the calendar. So that's what I do. And I focus my planning for the day, and I plan it for the next 3 months. And what I do is I have a month 1, 2, and 3 plan, and then I have every 2 weeks. So basically, I've got 6 different planning intervals within the next 3 months. And then I'm rolling this forward. So I'm always planning 3 months ahead in 2-week intervals, and I update that every 2 weeks. And here's something that I've learned. What if I'm coming into, let's just say, the second month, and my plan here is to make $30,000 of gross sales in a particular business. Let's say I'm only going to make $20,000. What I do is I alter that goal number to be $20,000. So I'm meeting my goals. So I'm not failing. So I'm constantly adjusting my plan. My plan is not rigid, something that I'm going to fall, flat on my face. I'm adjusting the plan. And sometimes the plan might be, I'm doing better. I'm going to do $40,000 this month in this business unit, or maybe it's not. But you see, what I'm always doing is I want to meet my plan, so I'm going to change my plan as we go along. Perfectly valid to change your plan in this case. That's how I do it, and I review it every week. I review my focuses every day. I review my plan every week. That's how I do it. That's how plans fit in for me. There's a lot more to it, but you just need a little simple system that you can use. So here's what I suggest you do. These are just some ideas to elaborate on focuses. Being present with yourself, friends, and family. I believe that's one of the best focuses you can have for this year and for the entire year. Because, here's why. What happens is you've got all these, everybody does, we all have these negative thoughts running around in our head all the time. They're habitual negative thoughts. They're just a habit. The brain just generates these negative thoughts all the time. We should be further along. You should be, why haven't you been more successful? Why didn't you take that job 10 years ago? If only you had, married X instead of Y. I mean, there's just I don't know what they are for you, but everybody has them, right? And what happens is the brain has these cells here, this thin layer of cells. This is actually the mind. This is the part you're aware of. But there's all these other parts of the brain that actually create thoughts and actually make your movements and make everything happen. And only occasionally do the thoughts that they generate filter into the mind. Well, those parts of the brain, they're actually trying to do that thinks you want to do. So when your mind focuses attention on a thought, then these parts of the brain that are like below the surface that you don't feel, they start saying, oh, hey, the mind wants more of those thoughts. And so it starts feeding you more and more of these negative thoughts because you're focusing on them. So whatever you focus on is what your brain provides you more of. So if you focus on negative thoughts, you get more negative thoughts. If you focus away from that and onto your focuses and onto your plans and all that, then these parts of the brain starts feeding you more of those other better, positive, helpful thoughts. So the key to being free of those negative habitual thought patterns is just being aware of them. If you're focusing on them without awareness, then that's going to just make those thoughts continue, and they're going to continue and continue and continue and hold you back. If you start being aware of these negative thoughts and just labeling them, oh, those are just those thoughts that the brain is generating. If you start being aware of them, if you're present with them, then you can actually break the habit, and those negative thoughts will start to recede and fall away. And that is the way to become positive and focused. It's being present and really being aware of those thoughts and being able to relabel those thoughts. So that is the key, relabeling them. Oh, those aren't really me. Those are just thoughts that are coming out from the brain somewhere. Hey, it's no big deal. That's the key to the whole thing. Being present and understanding that you're getting these negative thoughts, that they're not you, that they just come from the parts of the brain that just generate these thoughts, and that they're a habit that you've learned early on, and that the brain is actually trying to give you more of what you're paying attention to. So start paying attention to more positive things, but you do that by being aware and present with all your thoughts. So that's why I recommend that you really make this a focus of being present and being aware of what your thoughts are and what's going on. That means you want to avoid things like checking smartphones, checking email all the time. I don't mean you don't check those, but you need to control that, because I see everyone walking around in a daze. Every waking minute, they're looking on their cell phone, their smartphone, their Facebook, and they're so busy with that they're actually not present with their own thoughts. They're not present with themselves, their friends, and their family. So how do you do that? How do you control this stuff? Well, you develop a strategy for checking like every so often. Like you say, I'll check at 10 o'clock and I'll check at 2 o'clock. Or one way you can do it is you say, I'm going to check 5 times during the day, and you tick them off. And at the 5th time, you don't check again. So you need some ways of developing systems so that you're not just falling into the endless trap that these things do and sucking away your presence, so that you're not really in your own world. You're in your own world and you're not present in the real world. So you develop a strategy to limit your use, and you free up more time to be present with yourself, your friends, and your family. And that's where really great movement in your life starts to happen. Second idea to focus on, besides being present, I would suggest, is a second income, because it's more and more important as times get tougher and tougher. It's more and more important for you to have another income, because if your first income falls or disappears, you need to have something else to fall back on. Consider what you like to do and consider what you don't like to do. I see a lot of people get into businesses and things that they don't really enjoy doing. And if they don't enjoy doing it, it's not going to be likely they're going to be successful. It takes too much time, effort, and focus to be successful at anything. And it's just so hard if you're already doing something you don't enjoy. So do what you enjoy. Your income should make you happy, the second income. It should represent what you're best at. So, for example, if you hate sales, don't do something requiring sales. If you don't like writing, don't do something that requires a lot of writing. If you love writing, then do a writing thing. I mean, that's basically it. There's a lot of ways of making money as a second income that could become a first income. But the real critical thing is to do the things that make you happy and avoid the things that don't make you happy. If you feel that it would serve you, for example, blogging for profit has a great opportunity. Writing grants for people can be a great writing if you like writing. So these are different ways of making money in the writing business. Consulting, if you enjoy your basic core competency, maybe for your work or what you've been trained on, maybe you can do some freelance work as a consultant. That could be a great possibility if you can get the business, if you can get the clients. Being a money finder, we have a lot of people that have done quite well as money finders in the money business, always people looking for money. If you like selling, that could be great. And if you run a deal in apartments, it can be great if you don't like selling and you want to develop your own lifetime apartment investor, apartment empire. Being an apartment dealer means you can flip, you can wholesale, as we call it. You can be a finder, and you don't have to have any credit. You don't have to have any money, and you can get into the apartment business being an apartment dealer. The deals can be really substantial. There's a lot of money involved, and even a small slice of that can represent a very handsome profit, and there's really no selling involved in it. If you feel that would serve you, I'm going to give you a link here if you're watching this video on my blog. If you're, you'll be able to click on the link, and for just $7, you can get into the business. Because what I have found is the key to success in anything is to get regular help and reinforcement from people that are already successfully doing what you want to do. If you're going to be successful in apartment buildings, you want to find people who are successful in apartment buildings that you can learn from and be inspired by. Real estate investment clubs can be good, but most of these are filled with people that are into houses, not apartments. Coaching programs be good, but a lot of them are very expensive. And, when you're starting out, you need to put all your capital and everything into just the things that you need to survive. If you want to try our Gold program, which is a group coaching program, we have calls every 2 weeks. We have a training vault you get access to. You get a private Facebook page where you can ask questions and get help. It's $7 for the first month. Click on the link that you see below you here on my blog for more information. We're going to be closing it out when we reach 200 students again, which is going to be any time now. Really appreciate your time. I hope this has been helpful. If you're watching this on YouTube, you go to financialsuccessinstitute.org. That's financialsuccessinstitute.org. And look forward to working together. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Take care.